Hello, welcome to Geeky Hijinks, home of the Mischief Makers, and today we're looking at Boys from County Hell. So another day, another Shudder movie. So this one didn't really need anyone's help with, not even PG. So give him PG day after day to do whatever he likes. So I hope wherever he is, he's having a great time. So what is this film about exactly? Well, it's about a bunch of road workers led by a bickering father and son, and they're building this new road through a field in Northern Ireland. That's where the movie's set. But over a unfortunate accident, they unleash an ancient Irish vampire who's trying to kill them over one night, and they must defeat it to protect themselves and the townspeople. Just having a swig of the old coffee. It's gone. That was really pointless. So let's just start with what I liked with the film, and I loved the opening. I literally sat down on my armchair, had my little cup of tea on the side. Gotta have a cup of tea with a movie. And normally I'm like, you know how like horror films, most films, but especially horrors, they need to grab you. Them first 2 minutes are so important to a horror film. Not all of them. Like for example, yeah, pretty much all of them. So I was just sitting there, I was on my phone, and she's just like making notes and getting things ready so I could write things down. And the first scene happened in this film, and I was like, this seems pretty cool. And literally just pulled me in, grabbed my attention from the start. Unfortunately, the rest of the film isn't as good as those first 5 minutes because it's more of the intrigue. But I loved the different route they went with this, because obviously the film's about a vampire. That's not a spoiler, but the fun thing with this film is the vampire doesn't need to suck your blood to drink it. It can literally draw the blood out of your body, so out of your eyes, out your ears, out your nose, out your mouth, basically out of any orifice. And I literally mean every orifice. There is a scene where a man goes to the toilet. My God, if you're a guy, I can guarantee you all went, "Oh God, that's awful." So yeah, so that was pretty cool. So the first scene was very impressive. Overall, I liked the acting, was pretty fun. The main character Eugene and his dad was Francis. They are my favourite characters, especially the dad. The dad killed me because he just reminds you of that no-nonsense guy, not fazed by anything, not scared of anything, like a proper man's man. Like he could see a T-Rex coming towards him in a field, and he'll be like, "We're not going anywhere until this fence is up." He's that kind of guy. And he was my favourite character, had some really good one-liners in this. A scene at the end where he keeps falling through things. That was pretty funny. And Eugene was pretty funny too. And there's other characters called SP. There's a barmaid, I forget her name, but there's a few other characters. But what I liked is they're memorable. You all have unique personalities, and you don't spend too much time with them. Like SP, for example, seems like that mate you all have in a group of friends. And yeah, I wish they fleshed him out more. Like you see enough of him, but I wish there was more like banter and camaraderie, and you can see more of them going out before the madness kicks off. But generally, like the characters, and the acting was good too. And the vampire design is pretty cool, and I like the lore of the vampire because Eugene's basically telling these tourists, and I really wish those tourists were in the film more, because as soon as you meet them, they're from Canada, and you kind of get like Werewolf in London vibes, American Werewolf in London vibes, and they kind of make a joke of that. And I was thinking, oh, like more kills for the vampire, but they're not in it long. And I was thinking, I wish they were part of the story, because that could have been quite fun to have like two people not from Northern Ireland with a bunch of townspeople from Northern Ireland mixed in together, and that would have been sort of better in my opinion. But what was I even talking about? Oh yeah, I had to look down there for a second. I was like, I've lost my train of thought. But yeah, I like the lore that Eugene tells these Canadian tourists that it was Bram Stoker was from that town, which I don't actually know. I don't actually look up to see if that was true, but I trust Eugene. So he was saying that Bram Stoker was from that town or went to that town, and then after or shortly after he wrote Bram Stoker's Dracula. There's a pub in the film called the Stoker or the Stroker. No, it's not called the Stroker. It's called the Stoker. I think the Stroker is a different pub in a different part of London. But I like that twist, the whole it's all a vampire in Romania and Transylvania, like bleh, like that kind of vampire. It was that this vampire was one of the first, the OG of the vampires. Why am I doing this? Like I'm making a cake. But he's buried in the ground in Northern Ireland with stones, like almost like a fake shrine. What is this on my face? Cobwebs, why do they always land on you? But so got this big shrine that's the vampires meant to be buried underneath, and it's a big tourist attraction in Northern Ireland. But that's where the trouble comes from, because they're Francis and Eugene, been tasked with building this road that goes straight through this field, and you've got to demolish this shrine, which is like almost like a Stonehenge kind of memorial, like also like a myth, so people would go there to see it, and the townspeople are angry because they're getting rid of the land for one, but also a big tourist attraction. But the vampire design is wicked. I thought it was really cool, completely different to what you normally get. No capes and with the red inside, and not like yeah, just not monstrous to a point, but I would say it's almost like a dog soldiers. Not the werewolves in there, they were quite almost human-esque. Same with this vampire, it sort of kind of reminded me of the werewolves in that to a point, but obviously not being a werewolf. But it was good design, I really liked it. It was something different I haven't seen before in a vampire film. Unfortunately, you don't see it much, and when you do, it's a bit of a chump. And it also has an extremely random death involving a ball, which, you know, I think that was, I just watched, I was thinking, what am I looking at here? What just happened? It was so confusing to me. But it made me laugh because it just came out of nowhere. There was no foreshadowing to it. There was no warning. It just happened. And I was like, okay, this is mad. But it made me laugh. Now on to my negatives. Now, this isn't a terrible movie. I'm just going to say this outright. This isn't a bad Shudder movie. And I think you can enjoy it. Like, I think initially I wasn't a big fan of this film. I was kind of let down. But looking back at it now a couple of days later, and I think sometimes you need to let films stew with yourselves. Like, to go straight into a film review after you watched it isn't always the best idea, unless it's terrible, like Dreamcatcher or Shookworth for me. But generally, some films like this, you just need to sit back a bit and think, you know, it wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. So my first negative for this film is, it just felt like one massive setup. Like, I feel like the first 45-50 minutes of this film just felt like a massive setup to get to what the film's about. So you meet these characters, like a great, strong opening. You meet the characters, they're fun. And then by Eugene, I'm going to get onto him in a second. Again, I always keep on going to other negatives, but let's stick with what I'm talking about now. But yeah, it just took so long to set up. Way too long. Like, there's some craziness that happened between now and then, but to get to the vampire itself, too long. And when you do get there, it's not really impressive. Like, I like the design, but yeah, it's not really scary. As mentioned, it didn't really nail the horror comedy aspect it was going for. They should have just gone straight horror. That would have been better. Now, that's not to say it wasn't funny. There were some funny moments and like smirking moments, but you're not laughing out loud. You're not thinking, oh, this is iconic. It's not like Shaun of the Dead, where he's running through with a cricket bat and he's just hitting everyone, or like the Queen, but Don't Stop Me Now in the pub. Nothing as iconic like that, and not even like Shaun of the Dead, Dog Soldiers, with the banter, like the soldiers are having in that cabin. That was fun, and they didn't have like they kind of had some fun like smiling moments, but yeah, it just didn't make me laugh once, and it wasn't scary at all. No one, I don't think even my mum wouldn't be hiding over. My mum always hides behind pillows with horror films. She wouldn't with this, actually. Yeah, she would. And any flood of blood or guts, she would have been like, oh. And while I loved the beginning of the film, the opening, the ending of the film was pretty lame and lackluster. Like, this vampire just sucks. How anyone struggled. Now, I'm not going to spoil this film, because if you want to go and see it, I want you to, just to check it out, because you may enjoy it. Because it is worth checking out, in my opinion. But this vampire, you could literally throw a banana at its head and it'd be game over for it. It just, like, there was no threat. It just seemed so easy to take down. And even when they, well, do they take it down? You have to find out. But yeah, it just wasn't intimidating. It was a pretty sucky ending. Now, before I go into my final thoughts and ratings, I just want to say it's been pretty quiet about PG here. Like, I really hope he's had a really good day, because he deserves it. He does quite a lot around here. He always helps me out with my filming and stuff, but he deserved this day off. So wherever he is, hope he's having a great time. So overall, guys, this isn't a terrible Shudder film. It's just not a great Shudder film. And you may check it out, might quite like it. You might find all of it funny. You might not find any of it funny at all. You might find it too gory or not gory enough, or somewhere in the middle. Me, I kind of found it, as I mentioned, good film, great premise with a vampire, fun characters, although a couple I couldn't really grasp onto too much because you didn't see too much of them. And it wasn't balls to the walls crazy as I'd liked, and the gore effects were kind of tame. So with that all said, I'm going to give this a bronze win and a one-time spin, because I can recommend it to you. You may enjoy it, you may not. But me personally, while I can say it's a good take on the vampire genre, I'm never going to watch this again. So guys, that was my review of Boys from County. What the hell's happening around here lately? Anyway guys, that was Boys from County Hell. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it a snooze fest or the greatest film you've ever seen? Comment in the comments to let me know, because I genuinely am interested. And if you like this video, drop me those likes because it always does help. But until next time, stay out of trouble.